hey there, it's me, Ripper the Clown, the unpredictable cartoon character come to life. And here we go with another occasional and random installment of my Brush with Greatness podcast. Now, before Ripper the Clown was Ripper the Clown, I interviewed Barbara Goodish for a print article back around 2011. And once I started doing the occasional Brush with Greatness podcast, I published that interview with Barbara Goodish, and you can find a link for that interview in the video description below. And I'll let the intro and background for that interview speak for itself if you'd like to check it out. And you may notice that I don't really sound up to par today. I had the clown flu. And, since I had the clown flu, I'm obviously not 100% today. But since I'm a professional and I'm a professional clown, I did the interview today with Barbara Goodish anyway. So please pardon any coughing or voice cracking or stuffiness in my nasally tone or choking on bad flu stuff that you may, or rather you definitely will, hear throughout this interview. Such as what you just heard there. I'm sorry you had to hear that. But I will say this. Barbara Goodish, a.k.a. Barbara Brody, is one of the absolute sweetest, kindest people that I've ever had the honor of interviewing. And it was a true pleasure and an honor for me to interview Barbara back in 2011, let alone for a second time in this contemporaneous interview wherein we discuss, in part, the Dark Side of the Ring episode, The Killing of Bruiser Brody, and the 2019 WWE Hall of Fame. And since you're here, do me a big favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please do it now. Damn, I'm freaking sick. Hello, it's me, Ripper the Clown, the unpredictable cartoon character come to life, and welcome to my occasional Brush with Greatness podcast, and I want to welcome back, so to speak, Barbara Goodish. Now, we haven't spoken since approximately 2011, and within that approximate 8 years, a lot's happened, especially over the past few months, probably more than any other period in the interim. So first, let's talk about the Dark Side of the Ring episode that aired this past spring, The Killing of Bruiser Brody. So what were your thoughts on the episode, and were you satisfied with the finished product?
Yes, I was very satisfied. The producer, Evan, and his assistant, Jason, they approached me, and this was going to be the pilot for the Dark Side of the Ring, because they were trying to get the okay from Viceland. So they thought the Bruiser Brody front would be the perfect one to do a pilot on. So they approached me probably about a year before the finished product, well, probably longer than a year before the finished product. And they treated me with such respect. They took me into Austin, where my son lives, so I could visit with him. He was both great. Got Geoff, as you know, for the first time ever to appear on anything for his interview, because he shied, as you know, he shied away from everything ever since everything happened. He was comfortable enough that he got in, as you saw, I'm sure you saw the episode, did a little interview, and they've kept in touch with me ever since. So we're very grateful that Viceland saw the first, the pilot, and then of course they did the 6 episodes on the other wrestlers for the Dark Side of the Ring, and he even had contacted me, and they've been picked up for a second season.
Yes.
So I was very happy with the finished product. It was really hard to talk about because it's never really talked, but I knew that they would go ahead and do it without me. But to include me in everything, I was very respectful of them.
Yes, it was. I thought it was an extremely powerful episode.
I did too, and the way they did it, and yes, it's 31 years, Jake.
Yes.
So it was time for the story. I mean, I wrote the book, I think, in 2007, if I remember, and it was time because there's still so much interest in him.
And that was one of my thoughts after watching the episode and then seeing posts online and whatnot. It's really a testament to the legend of Bruiser Brody. I'm sorry, I'm dealing with the flu, so I'm kind of stuffy and stuttering over my words as I'm trying not to cough here. But it's really a testament to the legend of Bruiser Brody and the love that the fans have for him 31 years after the fact. Because he's still remembered as absolutely one of the greatest and iconic wrestlers of our all time, which is really rare for someone who was never in the WWE machine.
Right, and I go to all these events that they invite me to, and Cauliflower Alley Club in Las Vegas for anyone that's a fan. That's a great one to go to. I go to the Hall of Fame in Waterloo, Texas, and then in St. Louis, Simmons has a little Bruiser Brody memorial here. And a lot of times, especially one story from the CAC, and I'm just standing there, this very polite young gentleman came up and started talking and said, I've read your book and I've watched YouTube episodes, and I really admire, how your husband was. And I asked him how old he was. He was only 29 years old, he was not even alive when Hank passed.
Yes.
And that's not the first person that's come up, and the legacy that he has left is, it makes my heart good. He would be amazed if he knew just what a legacy he has left, that all these people that were not even alive actually, know who he is, and this young gentleman was a wrestler also.
Mm-hmm.
Starting off as a wrestler, and it was just amazing. Another thing is I get a lot of people showing me tattoos
Yes.
of him. I went to one in Philadelphia, and this 21-year-old had a tattoo of Abby and a tattoo of Frank on his arm.
Wow.
And I saw a tattoo, and I went to the gathering in Charlotte. Another gentleman came and showed me a tattoo, and people are wearing Brody shirts, and I mean, every time I see that, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that the last time we spoke in around 2011 about the tattoos that always marveled you when you saw fans with their tattoos.
And now there's even more tattoos out there. So it just, I have a whole collection now. I'm getting a whole collection of these tattoos that people have on their bodies.
And
I'm like, wow.
It's got to make you feel, and your son Geoff feel, really special that Bruiser Brody is remembered so long after the fact, when so many people's attention spans are so short, and that what he did in the ring was so memorable that it's still remembered today.
And I think this is it, and I think that's why Geoff is finally starting to realize just who his father really was. I mean, he was only 7 years old when he lost his father, so it took he just didn't want to have anything to do with anything. And now, after everything, he's becoming to realize how important his father was. He had no idea.
Yeah.
It was just, people would ask him about his dad, but it was just like anybody asking somebody about their father that's no longer here. But now when he sees all this, the next thing, I want him to come to one of these events with me to really interact with the fans, because, they're amazing. All these stories they tell me, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and, seeing Geoff in the Dark Side of the Ring episode, I was amazed at his resemblance to his late father.
Yes, he's got his eyes. I mean, if he grew a beard and put on some weight, he would. His eyes, just like his dad.
Yes.
I mean, you can tell exactly what he's thinking just by his eyes. He doesn't have to do anything else.
Yeah, it was.
That's
I think I'd seen some photos of him online at some point, but seeing the episode, it really just popped to me how much he resembled his father. It was just really amazing.
Yes, that's what a lot of people I've posted a couple of pictures, you're right, and people have remarked just how, exactly what you just said, just how much he does resemble his dad in his face. Of course, he's a lot smaller. He's tall, but he's a lot smaller.
Yes. And do you think that the Dark Side of the Ring sparked new interest in your husband's career, perhaps with contemporaneous wrestling fans who had never been familiar with his work before, now after seeing Dark Side of the Ring have kind of introduced themselves to his vast work?
Oh, I do believe this, because a lot of people, one funny little story, I have a neighbor, I've been, in my place 20 years. I have a neighbor that lives down the street that has done my lawn and done little hot shops around, my house. I was doing shopping in public. He comes up to me. He said, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I was watching an episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and I saw you. I didn't know. He had no idea. He stood there with his mouth open. He said, I had no idea. He said, I knew Frank. Small world. someone that has done well for me for, 20 years, because I don't tell people I'm a very private person.
Mm-hmm.
And he had worked in the Atlanta territory as a putting up the ring and fixing things up, and when Frank worked there, I mean, small world. That's like I had people that didn't realize who I was
Yes.
after they saw that episode of Dark Side of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
And that we didn't know. This is not something, I mean, my friends know it comes up in conversation, but it's not something that I bring up if it's not just in a general conversation.
Yes. Yes. And I know you've done, you did an interview with me again back in around 2011, and I'll always remember that because when you called me, I was actually in a tornado warning. I don't know if you remember that or not, but the sirens are going and stuff was blowing in the road, and you haven't done any on-camera interviews that I've seen, and so I think that was. I admire your courage and bravery in doing that because it had to have been emotional for you. And, even 31 years after Brody's murder, from the perspective of myself as a fan and not family, the episode was emotional for me. And the sadness of the loss of Brody and the sadness for the loss of you and Geoff and the sadness of the injustice of, for the world that he's gone and that his murderer was never brought to justice. It was powerful, and it was the most powerful episode of the series, I believe.
Right, yes, I saw, I think there's only a couple I hadn't seen. I've seen the other ones, and yes, I saw Gino's one, which I thought that was a pretty good one too. But yeah, I've done a couple of interviews. Like a lot of times when I go to the event, someone will come and do a real quick, interview, but not to talk about that subject. I've done interviews, but never talked about that subject because they know don't bring that up to me.
Yeah.
First time that this subject was actually talked about. So yeah, it was different because it was a raw episode, not just me talking to someone with a microphone stuck on my face to ask you general questions about the event and things like that.
Yes, and it had to have been very emotional for you and for Geoff to kind of break through the shell and open yourself up to that kind of interview.
And this is why, like I said, they made us feel so comfortable. And they were younger than Geoff.
Yes.
Like Geoff was real comfortable. They were younger than Geoff, but it was just like you'd known them, or you'd known them forever because they were just. I kind of thought of them as my sons. They were my sons, like Geoff. That's how I kind of responded to them. That's how they made me feel.
And when people...
sometimes we don't get a lot of respect, but the respect has kind of gone out a little bit in our society today.
Yes, and when you feel comfortable around the people you're with and under those circumstances, it makes the whole process easier.
I know, because that's why I was amazed when they asked Geoff. They said, hey, Geoff, would you feel comfortable saying a few words? And he said, yes, and that was, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed at that, too, because I didn't think that he would. He never has.
Yeah.
So I went, oh, yes. I thought the one part when he was talking, it was like that. It was something like everybody knows my dad except me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was too young.
Yeah.
And that was then reality sometimes comes in, and it was like that. Yeah, everybody tells him stories about his dad. He doesn't really have any stories.
Yeah, and that's sad. It just watching the episode, my heart just repeatedly broke for you and Geoff. And then there was that powerful scene of you and Geoff in the storage locker looking through Brody's memorabilia, and that was primarily what our original interview was back in 2011 about memorabilia. And so, seeing that, I was like, oh my God, it's just a powerful scene for you guys to be going through his effects and to be kind of reminiscing in front of the camera.
Right. Yeah, I know. That was, but sometimes when you're with comfortable people, you open up to the point that you open up more than you ever had to anybody else.
Yes. Now, shortly after The Dark Side of the Ring aired, weeks after, Bruiser Brody was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read online that you had no clue the WWE was inducting Bruiser Brody into the Hall of Fame until it was announced. Is this correct?
I didn't know until someone posted it on Facebook the night he was going in.
Wow.
that's how much I looked at Facebook, and somebody, you know, he's got a Bruiser Brody hardcore page before hardcore on Facebook. You know, he has his own Facebook page.
Yes, I believe I'm a member of that page.
Yeah, and somebody had posted it on, and I just went, oh, that's fake. Dang, why are people doing that? What a fake post. And then I found out, oh, it's not fake. It's real.
Yeah.
No, so I didn't know right up until the same day that he was inducted. It was at the Legacy Hall of Fame. So no, we had no idea. Another funny story, I went to the gathering up in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Was it last weekend?
Yes.
Yeah. I met Karen McDonald, Wahoo McDonald's widow.
Yes.
We both, she didn't know either because Wahoo went into the Legacy Hall of Fame as well, the WWE Legacy. We both looked at each other. It was like a bonding because she said, did you know? I said, no. Did you? She said, no. Didn't contact either of us, Wahoo's widow or Frank's widow. And
that's just unfathomable. I mean, you've never heard from anyone from the WWE about the Hall of Fame. That's just unbelievable.
Nothing at all. And she went through exactly the same thing that I went through. Had no idea until somebody told her. Till that day, nobody contacted either of us. And I know, you know, Wahoo and Bruiser went in at the same time.
Yes, and Playboy Buddy Rose went in as well.
You know, so whoever went in there, none of the family was contacted.
Which, you know, I've read that WWE pays the people who are being inducted. So to me, that is, you know, that was taking money away from you. And did you even get a Hall of Fame ring for Bruiser Brody?
No, we got nothing.
Wow.
Not even a mention. Just they got mentioned. I didn't see, but I think it was just probably one mention, and that was it.
I just can't. When I read it, I was like, that can't be true. But now you've confirmed that it is, and it's just unbelievable to me.
Yeah, not just me. Everybody, whoever is the other person from the people that went in.
Yeah.
None of us were told. That's why it was very interesting when I met Karen.
Yeah.
Wahoo's widow. That it was like, what? Wow. That was the same for both. So, yeah, it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
And she said, well, it wasn't just me. She said, I thought it was just me, but everybody else, you know, got a little payday. And nope. They did the same to both of us.
You know, I've done a comedy video for a long time about Brutus the Barber Beefcake going into the Hall of Fame and basically making a joke about it and then saying at the end that, you know, eventually they'll get around to inducting guys like Bruiser Brody and the guys who really deserve to be in it. So, you know, personally, as a lifelong fan who's admired Brody and I've written about Brody, I found it offensive and insulting that guys like Brutus Beefcake and Harlem Heat and DX and Torrie Wilson, they got proper inductions into the Hall of Fame, and then past inductees like, you know, Hillbilly Jim got proper inductions, but Bruiser Brody and Playboy Buddy Rose, you know, two of the most deserving inductees on the 2019 card of all time, really didn't receive inductions. And especially with the recent Dark Side of the Ring episode bringing national attention to Brody and his murder, for me this was just inconceivable, especially considering all the generations after generations who were inspired by Brody, some of which are on the roster today.
Right. As I said, but that's the WWE.
Yes.
So, you know, I mean, it's something like I said, yeah, it was a shock that morning when I saw that thing on Facebook. I said, fake.
Yeah.
You know, but nope, it was not fake.
I wouldn't even think they would be able to do it without the family's permission, to induct somebody without the family's permission. That's just, I'm blown away.
I know, but as like I said, nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those. I mean, there's so much injustice in life.
I know.
You know, it's not right. But as I said, you just have to go on because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Now,
you change the things you can. But
yes.
The things you can't change, you just got to accept and go on.
Yes. Now, after the Dark Side of the Ring episode aired, there was an online report that a film about the life and death of Bruiser Brody was being discussed. Is this accurate?
What is that?
I had read online, and I could pull up the actual link and send it to you. There was an online report that a film about the life and death of Brody was being discussed.
Yes, well, I don't know if that's true or not. There's no other word. Yes, I saw that, and they had, what was his name, Jason, they mentioned, what's his name, the one nothing that plays Aquaman, Jason.
Okay, yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was rumored that but I think it was rumored that he would be a great one to play for. But as of this moment, I haven't heard anything else. If you ever hear anything else, let me know.
Okay, I definitely will. I always thought, I read your book when it came out, and I always thought that your book would be an amazing film. So, hopefully one day that will happen.
Yeah, people have talked about it, so maybe down the line after this, could be something. But yeah, at the moment, I haven't heard any more rumors or any more about that. But I did read the article that you were talking about.
And another article that I saw online, it was after the Dark Side of the Ring episode aired. It was on Oxygen.com. They did an article about the Invader, and they posted his Facebook page. And if this is his legitimate Facebook page, he's advertising on there that he's doing birthday parties for kids, which is just kind of weird and bizarre and really scary and disturbing. And something that the article didn't mention that I actually saw when I was scrolling was that so many people were just, verbally attacking him for doing birthday parties. And in one of the posts, he replied, and he claimed that Brody had faked his own death. And one of his supporters actually commented, claiming that Brody's now living in Cabo Rojo, and he's like selling shark skewers or something. And
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm laughing.
And the post has, like, as of when I looked at it a week or so ago, over 100 comments, and most of the comments, verbally, or fans verbally wishing death upon the Invader. And I won't, quote any of them because most of them contain certain words that Ripper the Clown doesn't say. But when I was reading this, I would just, again, it's a testament to Brody and the deep connection with his fans, where 31 years later, his murder and his murderer still enrages the fans who love him. And I just thought that was, amidst of all the craziness going on the Invader's website, it touched me that so many people are still that, to care about him that deeply.
I know. It's when I saw that at the end of the Dark Side of the Ring that he was doing children's party, my mouth just dropped. It was like, I cannot believe that I will never mention his name.
Yeah.
That this band is doing children's party. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe. And as Evan said, that they tried to reach out to them like they had at the very last thing that's on the Dark Side of the Ring. They tried to reach out to them to let them tell their side of the story, but of course they didn't want to do it.
Of course.
Which I was happy about. That was my only concern with having them on having them on the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just really tells you something about, the whole situation. They didn't even want to come on and dispute anything.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but as Evan said, it's only been, they had asked me before, that, we're going to try to reach out. And I said, I know. I said, you have to do what you have to do, but thank you for letting me know.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't want to do it. They said no. So that was good.
And
it was really good in the long run.
Yes, and it was nice that they at least let you know to kind of brace you and prepare you for that in case it did come to pass.
Yes, it certainly was.
Yeah. Well, you were, as you mentioned earlier, you were recently at the Gathering in North Carolina, and before we close, do you have any fun stories from the Gathering weekend that you'd like to share?
Well, it was a really fun weekend. Like I said, I got to meet Karen McDonald, Wahoo McDonald's widow, and her son Nolan, and J.J. Dillon was there, and Bruce Barney, and the fans were just amazing. I mean, there was just so many of the legends there that I couldn't believe. And Martin, he put on for any fans that ever want to go to a really incredible fan fest, I know he's going to have one next year. The Gathering in Charlotte is I would recommend it to any of the fans, because the fans get to meet so many legends,
Mm-hmm.
and every year we're missing so many too.
Yes.
And every year you never know when it's going to be the last time you're going to see anybody. But the fans were just great. And what they do is, like at the banquet, because Frank got honoured, he got a plaque. He was honoured there at the banquet, and they had the tables, like I think it was like 10, and everybody's allowed. They have 3 legends, 3 people at each table, so that the fans can sit with whoever they might admire.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Which I thought was a really, really great idea, that they get to sit and have, a banquet with who they would never get a chance to sit down and have a meal with.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a great time. I mean, I could go into so many names and keep you here for an hour. How many different names there were there?
Yeah, I looked up the roster online, and it was really a stack card. It was really amazing.
Oh my God, Jake the Snake, and
Yes.
Lanny Pofu, Jim. Oh yeah, got to meet Hacksaw and his wife Hacksaw, Jim Dugan, which was the first time I'd met him. Kind of mentored him a little bit and got him, and his wife. And I introduced myself. She came and said how instrumental Frank had been in Jim's career, Hacksaw's career. I thought that was really nice. It was
Yes.
really nice to meet both of them, because I remember Frank used to talk about, when they both started up together. He said, I can see great potential in this one, and look where he's currently.
Yes.
He's had a really great career.
Mm-hmm.
And really nice. Both of them were really nice. So it was really nice meeting some of the other wives that I had. One Man Gang, I finally met his wife, Mary Alice. Sometimes you call them friends on Facebook, but you never get to meet in person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
So it was really great to meet people that sometimes you've had conversations with, from messaging. You sometimes will message each other back and forth, or you comment on one of their things and they comment back, and it was just really nice meeting
Yes.
some of the other women that have, that were involved in wrestling.
yes, it
The
is.
other half, so to speak.
Yes, and it's got to, it's got to make you feel good to not just meet the fans, but to meet Bruiser's colleagues and their families, and to learn how much he meant to them. It's got to be very special for you.
Yes, it was. And like I said, when everything happened, I think I told you this probably in the other interview. No, I don't know if I was going up that much in 2011. What was I? I don't think he was getting many awards back in 2011, if I remember, because I think I've only just started to go to the Cauliflower Alley Club.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one was the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, when it was still in Amsterdam, New York, and now it's in Wichita Falls in Texas. They moved it from New York down to Texas, and that was one of the first events. I've gone to one in Fort Worth. I think that was after. I think that one was the first one, and it was like all of a sudden I had my wrestling family back. I didn't have, except for Stan Henson,
Yes.
and a couple of the other ones that that kept in touch with me after everything happened. But to suddenly go into these events and have the whole wrestling family there that I hadn't had for 20 years or something, that was really special.
Yes, and not just the support from the fans, but the support from Bruiser's friends and their families. It's got to be really rewarding for you to understand that he's still loved today.
Yes, and as I said, more popular today than what he was,
Yes.
and more well known today because of technology than what he was back then.
Yes, and it's got to make you feel good to hear from people like Duggan who tell you how instrumental Brody was in their careers.
It was like, because you go up to introduce yourself to someone, and they kind of, oh, here's a fan, and then as soon as I say, well, I'm Frank Goodish's Bruiser's widow, both their faces, him and his wife's face, it just lit up.
Mm-hmm.
It was, very, very, very powerful. Even to me, the difference, as soon as I mentioned Frank's name, it was like,
Yes.
So it was, it was. That was one of the highlights of probably meeting Jim and his wife And even Greg Garney, I had never met him before either, and met him for the first time too. So, you know, a couple of these people, it was really cool, Jake.
Yes. And I hope that maybe one day our paths will cross after all these years and we'll get to meet face to face. That would be a really special moment for me, I know personally.
Yeah, that would be great. And you never know, like I said, I'm meeting all these other people that from 20, 30 years ago, so it's always possible.
Yes. I saw you had done a show, it's been a couple years, but in St. Louis, and I was so disappointed because I learned about it after the fact. I was so disappointed that I couldn't, didn't know, because I would have tried to make it, but hopefully sometime in the future, again.
Yeah. That's right, you live down there somewhere.
Yes, in Illinois. Illinois.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh, there's another one. I don't know if you remember this name, Spike Cuba.
Yes.
He was at the gathering. I would like. He still looks good. Because it's been a long time. I have a photograph of him way back. I mean, I don't know how long ago. Way back, probably when I wrote the book. And I got a photograph now. I thought that might be fun to put on the two photographs from not quite 20 years, 13, 15 years ago. But it was, yes, you come up and say, I just had to come and meet you again. It's like you went, oh my gosh. Yeah, there's another one from way back in the past.
Yes.
I remember him way back. He was St. Louis too. And, I thought, gosh, it's been a long time. I met you. Wow. I don't want to get into how many years now.
Yes, but yeah, the photos you've been posting on your Facebook page are really fantastic from that weekend.
Oh yes, yeah, I have been. I've been trying to get all the different ones, and as I thought, say bikes. I said I've got to find the original one from when I first met him, and put it too, because it was Bert Simmons and me and Spike Huger, and then this time when I got an up-to-date photo, I said that might be a fun one to do the years in between.
Yes, yeah, you could just juxtapose both photos, and that would be an awesome little collage.
Yeah.
But before,
but it is, so yeah, I'm very lucky, like I said, to have the wrestling family that's reached out to me and have been giving Frank all these awards. We won't mention the WWE award.
Yeah, again, that's, it's somebody who, again, I made this silly little video about Brutus Beefcake going into the Hall of Fame, and you can find it on my YouTube channel for those listening. I did that video several years running, insofar as to make a joke about the WWE inducting Brutus Beefcake under all of his litany of names. There's like 10 or 12 names that he's gone under, inducting him year after year after year, and all these different incarnations of Ed Leslie, and then at the end discussing how, they'll eventually get around to inducting the Midnight Express and Bruiser Brody and Art Barr and, the guys who really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So it's that will always be. I don't think I'll ever look at the WWE Hall of Fame again after they've slighted Brody and your family in this fashion. That's just me.
Yeah. And that's funny. You mentioned another name, the Midnight Express. All the Midnight Express were there and got an award when same night that Frank got his award.
Okay, at the gathering.
The whole 5 of them, I think it was. All the original Midnight Express were there.
Yeah, that would have been an amazing moment to see all of those guys.
Yeah, for once they, like I said, they were all together.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I'll have to send you the picture. I've got a picture of the 5 of them.
Okay, yes, I'd love to see it. Again, those 5 guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame just like Brody, and they're not even, but who knows? They may not even get notified when their time comes, so to speak.
Yep. So Frank and these people are getting awarded by all these other organizations.
Yeah.
So that's really something too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's more. That's more special than the WWE Hall of Fame at this point.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yes.
That these are people. These are fans and organizations that know all these people. Like I said, that much. And I met Bobby Heenan's widow.
Oh,
He got an award along with Frank in the Midnight Express, and so yeah, it was like I said, it was a great, perfect name, The Gathering.
Yes. Yes, and before I close here, because again I've got the clown flu, so I'm I'm not 100 I'm not 100% today. But I know that you have official Bruiser Brody merchandise on Pro Wrestling Tees. So anyone listening, I want to tell you that if you want an official Bruiser Brody T-shirt, go to Pro Wrestling Tees, and you have a lot of really amazing designs on that website.
I know, and these I cannot say enough about pro wrestling teams. These are one of the few people that actually give us a little portion of the sales. So anybody, usually there's so much bootleg out there, we don't see nothing. These people are one of the few. And if anyone's listening, if you want a signed copy of the book, you can message me on Facebook.
Okay, and I will put a link to your Facebook page in the video description.
Terrific.
Okay.
And you can also put a link to if they want to join Frank's page too, Bruiser Brody, Hardcore Before Hardcore.
Okay.
And it has a lot of good stuff on there and a lot of photographs I haven't even seen.
Yes.
I quite enjoy looking at it too because, there's like, and a lot of personal photographs, which I love to see him out of the wrestling ring in Japan and different places.
Yeah, that's I think one of the best Brody pages that I've seen.
Yes, it's a great page. And they keep me, I don't put anything on it, they put me as administration, which I like, so I can at least, monitor it. The people that run it, Joe Stassi, Robert Long, they do such a good job that I really don't have to do anything. So I'm very grateful to the people that are running it because they don't let any of the bad stuff get on there.
Yeah.
Which is what we want positive. You want to be positive in life. You don't want the negativity sometimes.
Yes. And you want it to be family friendly for fans of all ages to go to the site without, yes.
Oh, yes. One last little thing at the gathering. I had this probably 10-year-old boy. His father had bought him. He just loved Frank. And he followed me around, and I'm going to put a photograph. His father sent me the photograph of me with his son. And I thought, here's this 10-year-old that just knows everything about Frank.
Yeah, that's amazing.
My last little statement, I just remembered that when we were at the very end.
Yes, well, that's a perfect way to close.
And thank you, Jake. I appreciate it after so long. Lots to talk about. And if you could send me a link to your YouTube channel about what you just talked about Brutus Beefcake.
Yes.
I'd appreciate that too.
The comedy video about Beefcake, and I'll send you a link when the interview is posted, and I'll also post it to the Bruiser Brody Facebook page.
Terrific. I really appreciate that.
Okay.
I really appreciate talking to you again.
Yes.
And hope you feel better.
Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless Geoff, and amid all the pain, I hope that that Brody's fans love him, and that his memory and legacy it'll live on forever.
They do, and that's why, as I said, a big thank you to the fans and a big thank you to everyone that remembers. The family so appreciates it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Barbara. It was a pleasure for me to talk to you again.
Pleasure for me to talk to you too, Jay.
Okay.
So take care.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
With this full-blown clown flu that I've been dealing with here, and this horrible, nasty, never-ending, insidious sore throat, I didn't know if I'd be able to make it through the entire interview with Barbara Goodish without having some sort of physical collapse, but I did it. I soldiered through it, and I'm proud of me. I'm proud of Ripper the Clown. That's right. So, before I close, I just want to send yet another very special thanks to Barbara Goodish for taking the time to do yet another interview with Ripper the Clown. And to you guys listening to this interview, yes, you, I want you to do me a big favor. Do a sick clown a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Do it right now. You're right there. Just hit that button, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell, ding, and I'll be happy. Thank you.